Chosen one. Stop everything and pay attention. You just stepped into a place only God knows, a level so intense and rare that most people will never even see it. This is not a story or a motivational cliche. This is real, and it will push you harder than anything you've faced before. You've entered the wrong level, and here, every challenge, every pressure, and every setback is designed to teach you lessons no classroom, book, or ordinary experience ever could. This level matters because it operates on rules most never understand. Pain becomes insight, fear becomes strategy, and failure becomes data. The past patterns you relied on are gone, replaced by invisible forces, hidden systems, and lessons that only the prepared can decode. In my observation, extraordinary people, from innovators to leaders, were forged in spaces like this. They learned how to see patterns in chaos, anticipate outcomes before they occur, and turn isolation into strength. This is high-level education disguised as challenge. If you are truly a chosen one, this is your moment. You will start noticing opportunities others miss, clarity in decisions where others hesitate, and a growing ability to convert pressure into power. The knowledge here is actionable, mastering systems, reading invisible patterns, leveraging rejection, building patience into exponential rewards, and transforming fear into strategy. This is not comfort, it is preparation for mastery. And before we go deeper, take action. Like, subscribe, and comment 99. This signals your alignment and opens you to the knowledge and transformation waiting in this space. Stay with this message, absorb it fully, and your life will never be the same. This is the education of the chosen, the level only God knows, and it is preparing you for power, clarity, and mastery beyond imagination. There comes a point in life when familiar patterns, the ones you once trusted, stop making sense. Suddenly, the advice of peers feels shallow, social norms seem limiting, and achievements that once brought pride now feel hollow. This is the first signal that you've entered a new level of consciousness, a place where the ordinary metrics of success, comfort, and recognition no longer apply. It can be terrifying because it feels like you're disconnected from everyone around you, as though life itself has shifted into a wavelength only you can perceive. But this is not a curse. It is a sign of growth, a signal that your perception is evolving faster than the environment you inhabit. Understanding this shifted reality requires seeing the world as a system of patterns rather than isolated events. Neuroscience shows that when individuals experience what psychologists call existential disequilibrium, the brain goes through a rewiring process. Your neural networks are expanding to detect complexities that others ignore. At this stage, the discomfort isn't a weakness, it's a neurological upgrade, sharpening your awareness to threats, opportunities, and hidden truths. Those who endure this phase often report a sense of solitude that is both painful and enlightening. It's a form of internal recalibration, where the old ways of thinking, believing, and reacting no longer serve your emerging self. The reward lies in embracing this isolation as a crucible, a place where your future decisions, resilience, and intuition are being refined for challenges that most people will never face. Advancement is rarely linear. When you enter a new phase of personal or intellectual development, it often feels chaotic, confusing, and even punitive. Psychologists call this the transition paradox. The mind initially perceives growth as threat, triggering stress, doubt, and emotional turbulence. In reality, this discomfort is the prelude to mastery. Think of it like forging steel. Heat and pressure are necessary to strengthen the core. Your discomfort is the signal that your potential is being tempered, preparing you for levels of achievement that ordinary experience could never produce. The wrong level is a zone where conventional support systems fail to guide you. Friends, family, and mentors may struggle to relate because they haven't encountered the same cognitive and spiritual pressures. While this may feel isolating, it is crucial to see this gap as a blessing. It allows you to cultivate independence, critical thinking, and resilience without relying on external validation. Historically, every groundbreaking thinker, scientist, and leader has passed through this phase. Einstein, Marie Curie, and Mandela all faced periods where the world seemed misaligned with their evolving perception. Embracing this stage involves a delicate balance of patience and deliberate action. You must learn to interpret the signals of struggle as hidden lessons rather than obstacles. Document your experiences, analyze your responses, and test your limits systematically. By doing so, the punishment transforms into an invisible ladder, one step at a time, revealing the architecture of power and mastery that few ever attain. Pushing boundaries, crossing thresholds, and entering zones where ordinary coping mechanisms are insufficient. Your nervous system and cognitive frameworks are being recalibrated to higher capacities. Understanding and embracing this law transforms frustration into strategy. Instead of resisting delay, you can focus on skill accumulation, mental conditioning, and network intelligence. Documenting small wins, developing self-discipline, and analyzing your failures systematically prepares you for a future payoff that is not just bigger than others, but fundamentally transformative. Pain, in this sense, is not punishment. It is preparation, an investment in capability that yields compounded returns. Growth, especially rapid cognitive and emotional growth, is often accompanied by profound physiological changes. The nervous system becomes hyper-alert, capable of detecting subtleties and anomalies that previously went unnoticed. This is why people undergoing this phase often experience heightened anxiety, sensitivity, or emotional intensity. Far from being a deficit, this is an upgrade, a realignment of perception that allows you to process complex patterns, anticipate outcomes, and act with unprecedented precision. Modern neuroscience supports this. Exposure to high-stress, high-complexity environments leads to neuroplastic adaptations in the prefrontal cortex and amygdala. Essentially, your brain is rewiring itself to operate at a higher level of cognition and emotional regulation. What feels like instability is actually your system expanding to handle multi-dimensional challenges. By learning to work with this heightened nervous system instead of against it, you unlock mental clarity, intuitive decision-making, and resilience that ordinary experience cannot teach. Practical application involves combining mindful awareness, physiological regulation, and deliberate stress exposure. Techniques like controlled breathing, meditation, and cognitive reframing allow you to stabilize your internal state, while systematically confronting challenges conditions your system to remain functional under pressure. Over time, what once felt overwhelming becomes a source of strength, a finely tuned internal engine capable of navigating chaos while maintaining composure, insight, and strategic control. True growth often requires letting go of old identities. As you ascend levels of understanding and capability, familiar versions of yourself, defined by habits, beliefs, and social roles, begin to fall away. This collapse can feel disorienting, as if the foundation of your life has shifted. You may feel unrecognizable even to yourself, yet this is an essential step for long-term transformation. Without shedding outdated frameworks, your mind and spirit cannot adapt to new realities. Psychology explains this as a natural stage of cognitive and emotional recalibration. The brain discards patterns that no longer serve your evolving perception. An identity becomes more fluid, capable of integrating higher-level thinking, complex problem-solving, and long-term vision. This is why individuals in this phase often report a sense of irreversibility. Returning to former ways of living or thinking feels suffocating because your cognitive ecosystem has grown too complex for outdated structures. Navigating this phase requires patience, self-compassion, and disciplined reflection. Engage in practices that allow you to observe changes without judgment. Maintain routines that reinforce your new capacities, and systematically document shifts in thought, emotion, and behavior. By embracing the collapse instead of resisting it, you prepare a fertile mental landscape where higher-level capabilities, creativity, and resilience can flourish. At advanced levels of personal and intellectual growth, you enter situations where conventional logic no longer provides answers. Life becomes ambiguous, unpredictable, and paradoxical. This is the God-only zone, where external systems fail to guide you, and intuition, alignment, and disciplined action become your only compass. While disorienting, this stage is crucial. It signals that you are ready to operate in environments where ordinary planning is insufficient. Philosophically, this aligns with the principle that mastery often transcends rational explanation. Breakthroughs in science, leadership, and innovation frequently occur when individuals operate outside known frameworks, guided by intuition honed through experience. The God-only zone is where you test alignment between inner values, capabilities, and external challenges, learning to act decisively without complete information or guarantee of success. Practically, navigating this zone involves cultivating trust in your own systems and intuition. Structured reflection, scenario planning, and mental rehearsal allow you to act with confidence even amidst uncertainty. While logic may fail, alignment ensures your actions are coherent with long-term growth, capability, and vision. Those who learn to operate in this space develop psychological resilience, strategic foresight, and a capacity for decisive action that few can match. Perfect. Let's complete the script with headings 11 to 15, keeping the same humanized, reality-based, high-level educational style, emotionally engaging, motivational, and packed with knowledge. Each heading will have 3 long, detailed paragraphs with examples, psychological insight, and practical applications. As you ascend to higher levels of understanding, your mind begins to perceive complexities that your old frameworks cannot contain. Thoughts multiply, questions deepen, and the familiar answers no longer satisfy. This isn't a flaw, it's a signal that your cognitive architecture is evolving faster than the environment around you. Overthinking, in this context, is simply the mind's attempt to integrate higher dimensional problems without the necessary tools yet in place. Neuroscience confirms that during rapid cognitive growth, the prefrontal cortex, the center of complex reasoning, becomes hyperactive. This hyperactivity manifests as rumination, second-guessing, and mental loops. While this can feel exhausting, it's also evidence that your brain is attempting to restructure itself, creating new pathways capable of sophisticated analysis pattern recognition, and foresight. Iconic innovators like Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci reported intense periods of obsessive thought before breakthroughs emerged, proof that overthinking, when channeled, can fuel extraordinary creation. The solution is not to suppress these mental loops, but to manage them. Structured reflection, journaling, and prioritized problem-solving allow you to harness overthinking as a tool for insight rather than a source of paralysis. By reframing mental intensity as an adaptive mechanism, you convert cognitive chaos into strategic advantage, turning what feels like mental noise into a powerful engine of foresight, creativity, and advanced decision-making. The culmination of this journey is the realization that your hardship, isolation, and confusion were not punishments, but precursors to extraordinary capability. The wrong level was never wrong. It was ahead of its time, a preparatory phase where your mind, spirit, and body were being aligned with challenges and opportunities that others cannot perceive. Early growth is lonely, but it places you in a position to lead, innovate, and influence where others remain unaware or unprepared. History is full of individuals who seemed out of sync with their time, only to redefine reality when the world caught up. Visionaries like Nikola Tesla, Ada Lovelace, and Leonardo da Vinci experienced isolation, misunderstanding, and accelerated internal growth long before their contributions were recognized. Their wrong-level period was, in fact, the essential foundation that allowed them to operate at levels of insight, creativity, and impact that ordinary perception could not accommodate. Understanding this truth transforms frustration into purpose. You begin to see each challenge as a signal of early advancement, each moment of loneliness as a developmental step, and each delay as preparation for exponential reward. The journey itself becomes validation, and by embracing it fully, you step into life not merely as a participant, but as a pioneer, architect, and master of the realities that few can navigate with clarity and authority. Pressure often feels like punishment, an external force pushing you to your limits. But at higher levels of development, it transforms into an essential catalyst for growth. Every challenge you face contains embedded lessons in resilience, problem-solving, and self-mastery. The turning point occurs when you recognize that suffering is not arbitrary. It is energy waiting to be converted into capability. Once this perspective is internalized, adversity no longer paralyzes you. It fuels insight, action, and transformation. Psychologically, this aligns with research on post-traumatic growth, which demonstrates that individuals exposed to high stress can develop increased emotional intelligence, mental flexibility, and adaptive coping strategies. In real-world terms, consider high-pressure environments like surgical residencies or elite military training. Those who learn to channel stress productively, outperform peers, and develop decision-making skills that ordinary circumstances cannot teach. Pressure, in these contexts, becomes a teacher rather than a tormentor. To utilize pressure effectively, you must consciously reframe each challenge as an opportunity to practice skill, patience, and strategy. Establish routines that allow reflection under stress, maintain physical and mental discipline, and systematically extract lessons from every difficulty. By doing so, pressure transitions from an external curse to an internal catalyst, accelerating growth and preparing you for opportunities that others will fail to recognize or capitalize on. Transformation is rarely the result of a single monumental decision. It emerges through consistent micro-actions, compounded over time. Each choice, behavior, and response contributes to a network of cause and effect that determines your future trajectory. Small, deliberate actions under pressure build resilience, skill, and insight, creating ripples that can permanently alter your capacity for achievement and influence. Neuroscience supports this principle through the concept of neuroplasticity. Repeated behaviors strengthen neural pathways, solidifying new habits and thought patterns. For example, consistently practicing structured reflection or decision-making under stress gradually rewires the brain to handle complexity with confidence. Similarly, small, intentional professional or academic decisions, like consistently refining a skill, networking strategically, or managing time effectively, compound into life-altering results over years. Applying this principle requires rigorous self-awareness and documentation. Break down your goals into micro-actions, evaluate each decision critically, and iterate continuously. Recognize that even failures at this level carry lessons that multiply over time. Mastery is not the outcome of occasional brilliance. It is the cumulative effect of repeated, conscious choices that, when aligned with purpose, create irreversible personal and professional transformation. Life at advanced levels of growth carries lessons that are rarely explicit. Each hardship, rejection, or moment of isolation contains a hidden curriculum, a skill or insight that will be essential when others fail to cope. These lessons are not taught in classrooms. They are embedded in real experience, designed to cultivate resilience, strategic thinking, and adaptability. Understanding this hidden curriculum allows you to see obstacles not as setbacks, but as essential scaffolding for higher-level capability. Historically, leaders and innovators, ranging from Nobel laureate, life at advanced levels is governed by hidden patterns, systems, and cycles that determine outcomes more than raw effort or luck. Understanding these unseen laws, social dynamics, economic forces, cognitive biases, and environmental patterns provides a predictive advantage. Those who fail to recognize these structures often expend energy ineffectively, while those who understand them navigate challenges with efficiency and foresight. For example, market patterns, organizational hierarchies, and human behavioral trends often operate independently of individual intention. Awareness of these laws allows for strategic positioning and decision-making that aligns with broader forces rather than opposing them. Leaders in business, research, and strategy consistently demonstrate that success often depends less on talent and more on the ability to perceive and leverage these underlying systems. To apply this, study recurring patterns in your environment, track outcomes versus inputs, and develop mental models that map cause and effect. Understand that survival and influence at this level require systems thinking, anticipating cycles, identifying leverage points, and aligning action with forces beyond immediate perception. Mastery emerges not from blind effort, but from strategic engagement with the invisible frameworks that structure reality. Mastery at advanced levels requires more than reaction. It requires anticipation. The ability to detect subtle cues, psychological shifts, and environmental signals before they manifest is the hallmark of strategic foresight. Anticipation allows you to operate ahead of events, mitigate risks, and exploit opportunities that remain invisible to others. This is not intuition alone. It is a learned skill combining observation, pattern recognition, and disciplined analysis. Consider professionals in high-stakes industries. Stock traders, emergency responders, and elite military strategists rely on anticipation to make split-second decisions. They detect micro-patterns, slight behavioral changes, environmental shifts, or subtle statistical signals that predict outcomes before they are apparent. Neuroscience shows that experienced individuals process such cues unconsciously, allowing rapid, accurate predictions and proactive action. Anticipation is therefore both a mental and physiological skill. To develop this capacity, cultivate observation habits and analytical rigor. Track recurring patterns, maintain situational awareness, and practice mental simulation of potential outcomes. By training your mind to detect the invisible before it manifests, you gain a decisive edge. You move with foresight, while others react to consequences. Anticipation transforms uncertainty into a manageable system, turning complexity into advantage. High-level growth is a marathon, not a sprint. Quick reactions may yield immediate results, but often lead to burnout, mistakes, and short-lived gains. Patience, disciplined, intentional, strategic patience is a weapon for those operating on advanced levels. It allows for calculated decision-making, compound growth, and sustainable influence that outlasts transient achievements. Longevity in effort separates the truly exceptional from the superficially successful. Psychological studies on delayed gratification demonstrate that individuals who can sustain effort over long time horizons achieve far greater results than those who prioritize immediate rewards. Nobel laureates, Olympic athletes, and serial innovators consistently report that patience and strategic persistence enabled breakthroughs that would have been impossible through impulsive action alone. Longevity is a multiplier. It amplifies skill, insight, and opportunity over time. To harness this principle, structure long-term goals, measure progress incrementally, and resist the urge for instant validation. Treat setbacks as part of the process rather than failures. Cultivating patience strengthens mental endurance and ensures that every action, no matter how small, contributes meaningfully to long-term mastery. Those who wield patience effectively shape their trajectory rather than being shaped by circumstance. Satisfaction at advanced levels of growth comes not from easy achievements, but from conquering challenges that others deem impossible. Mastering complexity, chaos, and uncertainty creates a profound sense of accomplishment, self-efficacy, and fulfillment that superficial success cannot match. This joy is hidden because it is invisible to those who seek comfort, recognition, or external validation. Research in psychology confirms that humans experience the highest intrinsic reward when overcoming high-stakes challenges that require skill, perseverance, and adaptation. Complex problem-solving triggers neurochemical responses that reinforce learning, confidence, and motivation. Individuals who repeatedly operate in environments others avoid report enduring satisfaction derived from capability itself rather than external applause. The unmasterable becomes a playground for growth and self-expression. To access this joy, embrace challenges with intentionality, reframing obstacles as opportunities for mastery. Seek environments that push limits, simulate high-pressure scenarios, and develop skills that extend beyond conventional boundaries. Mastering the unmasterable teaches humility, resilience, and strategic foresight, producing satisfaction that is deep, lasting, and uniquely aligned with your evolving capabilities. Every decision you make now resonates in the life your future self is experiencing. Advanced growth requires alignment between present actions and long-term potential. Recognizing that your future self is watching allows intentional behavior, prioritization, and strategic development that shapes outcomes rather than reacting passively to circumstances. Destiny is not a passive reward. It is forged through consistent, deliberate, and intelligent action. Philosophical and cognitive research supports this perspective. Visualization, mental rehearsal, and projection into future scenarios enhance decision-making, goal adherence, and problem-solving. High achievers often describe their success as a result of aligning present choices with a vision of the person they aim to become. This creates internal accountability and ensures that actions taken under pressure build cumulative, coherent growth. Practically, this means setting intentional goals, evaluating daily actions for alignment, and reflecting on the long-term consequences of each choice. Every skill learned, risk managed, and challenge embraced contributes to a future equipped with mastery, influence, and freedom. By treating your future self as a stakeholder, every moment becomes an opportunity to shape destiny, ensuring that the life you experience tomorrow is a direct reflection of the actions and discipline exercised today. Entering the God level is a sensation that defies ordinary description. It is both terrifying and exhilarating. At first, there's disorientation, like stepping into a world with rules that no one taught you. Everything you once relied on, comfort, validation, easy answers, feels inadequate. Your mind races, your emotions intensify, and the weight of responsibility presses against your consciousness. It is a realm where clarity and chaos coexist, and only those who have honed resilience, awareness, and strategy can navigate it. Simultaneously, there is an extraordinary sense of awakening. You begin to perceive layers of reality invisible to others. Patterns, opportunities, and consequences unfold with precision. Your intuition sharpens, mental frameworks expand, and every challenge becomes a vector for accelerated growth. The pressure is immense, yet every moment feels like a concentrated lesson in mastery, endurance, and insight. It is a space where fear becomes fuel, failure becomes feedback, and every obstacle transforms into a stepping stone toward extraordinary capability. Most importantly, entering this level instills a profound sense of sovereignty. You realize that external validation is irrelevant, and true authority comes from alignment with your own values, preparation, and insight. You feel both infinitely small in the face of complexity and infinitely capable in your ability to navigate it. It is a paradoxical realm, humbling, demanding, and yet exhilarating, where your potential is fully realized and every action resonates with long-term impact. The journey through the wrong level is not a punishment, it is preparation. Every hardship, rejection, and moment of isolation is a building block for extraordinary capability. You are trained in resilience, strategic thinking, anticipation, mental discipline, and self-sovereignty. Each micro-decision, every encounter with fear, and every period of discomfort compounds silently, shaping a mind and character capable of navigating complexity, ambiguity, and opportunity with precision. By embracing this path, you develop skills and insight that few can comprehend: psychological immunity, mental armor, and the ability to operate ahead of events. Reward may be delayed, but it is exponential. Freedom, influence, mastery, and clarity await those who persist. The wrong level is not a trap. It is the hidden curriculum that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary life outcomes. Ultimately, mastery is not a destination, but a process. Your present struggles, decisions, and discipline are the foundation for your future self, a version of you who operates with authority, clarity, and purpose. By understanding the hidden laws, embracing challenges, and aligning action with destiny, you step into life as a pioneer of your own reality. The wrong level was never wrong. It was simply early. You were chosen to enter a space only the prepared can navigate, and from it, greatness becomes inevitable. This is more than knowledge, it's power. Subscribe now and claim your advantage before the world catches up.